Hello and welcome to a very special edition of UWA Wrestling Rampage. 1 week from today, we'll witness the crowning of the first ever Ultimate Wrestling Alliance television champion. And today, we're devoting the whole program to the 10 athletes who each vie for that auspicious inaugural title. The rules of the tournament are very simple. After the first 2 athletes enter the ring, it's winner stays on, with eliminations by pinfall or by being thrown over the top rope. The man who escapes elimination will be the first winner of the UWA television title. The order of entry is determined by a random draw, with 2 significant exceptions. Following the result of their match 2 weeks ago, we know that the first man into the ring will be the anarchist Doug Williams, while the last man in, and who therefore has the best chance of winning, will be American interloper fallen angel Christopher Daniels. We'll talk more about that situation later on in the hour. We'll also learn more about the masked monster Big Papa T, and we'll look at the ongoing battle between Phil Powers, Paul Sloan, Mad Dog McPhee, and the Wonder Kid Johnny Storm. But we'll begin with a closer look at Danny Royal and Kerry Cabrero. They've been friends and tag team partners in the past, but they both know that once the tournament begins, it's every man for himself.
It all started back in 1991, when I first ever met Danny Royal. It was during our training, and as I remember, that was hard training as well. But it was some of, like, in my early days, some of my best matches was with Danny Royal.
A lot of the other guys I know that are around my age and that are professional wrestlers with the UWA now, they knew they wanted to be professional wrestlers from a very, very early age. I didn't. You know, I never had visions when I was 12, 13, 14 of being a professional wrestler. When I was about 15, I saw a wrestling show at my local town hall. I watched it and I appreciated that there was guys in there that could do the job. And I realised from that day onwards that's what I wanted to be. So I went into intensive training, I got in the gym, I was taught by a veteran of the ring, and I made my professional debut about a year later at the age of 15. It wasn't long after that I first met Kerry. We hit it off really well. I suppose at the time Kerry was older than me, obviously he still is now, but we had good fun.
We've become quite good friends, travelled on the road together, had some brilliant laughs together, and decided one day that we should be a tag team. It's the perfect formula, really. Good friends and not being arrogant, but bloody good wrestlers.
Especially in the early days when it wasn't all show business, when it was a lot of getting up at 5 in the morning and travelling to shows, then making our own way back on public transport. We had a good laugh, we watched each other's backs, we had some good times, we had some bad times. In fact, once we had a fight in the back of a ring van. It was 6 o'clock in the morning, it was very cold, and there was only one duvet. So at the end of the fight, I think someone's leg went through the back window of this transit van. But, you know, we're cool about it.
Johnny and Kerry first came to my notice in about the early part of 1992. A couple of young lads, they'd been training, they'd been working for a minor promoter in England. I saw potential for the future, and was highly delighted to be able to recommend them to the larger promoters, and the larger promoters were not disappointed in these 2 guys. They really were what I'd said, or what I saw, the potential that they were. They were absolutely fantastic.
Since entering the UWA, both Danny Royal and Kerry Cabrero have been concentrating on their singles careers. Both men faced international opponents in their first UWA matches. Danny Royal fought valiantly 3 weeks ago against the fallen angel Christopher Daniels. Danny's show of strength proved to the American visitor why he's known as 100% British beef. Kerry Cabrero had possibly the match of his career against Japan's Gran Naniwa. Kerry demonstrated that Japanese athletes are not the only ones who fly over the top rope. But for Danny Royal and Kerry Cabrero, are their tag team days really behind them?
Me and Danny Royal as a tag team again. It could possibly happen. As long as Danny gets his act together. I don't want to tag up with somebody who's going to lose. So if it can start getting back on a winning streak again, and then I'll think about it. But until then, the thought hasn't entertained me yet.
Kerry's known me for years now, and Kerry knows who I am, but he still doesn't know why I am. As soon as he starts to appreciate that, then maybe we'll be on the opposite end of the tag rope sometime. And if that does happen, I can promise that we're going to rock and roll again. But, you know, it really depends on Mr. Cabarero's attitude.
If you wanted me to put a balance between the two of them, I wouldn't like to do that. I think they're on equal par. They've been friends, they've been tagging, but to try and define one against the other, I wouldn't like to do that. I would say they were on a 50-50 basis each.
The 10-man TV tournament, well, there's some talent in the ring there. I think names that stick out, obviously, Kerry Cabarero. I think with Kerry Cabarero, it's going to be a very interesting battle if I do meet him, because if you look at one side of the coin, I know him and I know all his strengths. But on the other side, it works the other way. He knows me and he knows all of mine. So I think the man that will win that one will be the man with luck. You know, it's been said a million times over that success is 50% ability, 50% luck. Let's see what happens. As far as the other guys I might run into, we've got Mad Dog McPhee. He's a big guy, he's got the long hair. He looks like a wrestler, but he's no Danny Royal. Paul Sloan, again, he's a big guy, nice shaved head, reminds me of someone, can't quite think who. He's very inexperienced. I'm going to beef bomb him straight through the middle of that ring. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, when the dust is settled, it's not going to be fancy, it's not going to be pretty. But if it comes down to me and Mr. Cabarero, the beef man will rule.
Well, this is like the biggest opportunity I've been put in for, TV title, for the UWA TV title. You know, and it's an opportunity which all us young wrestlers have never had before. And I do believe, with the knowledge that I've had, I should come through on top. I mean, there's the likes of Hot Stuff Stevie Knight. Well, from what I've heard, it's more like Cold Stuff Stevie Knight. Doug Williams, okay, yeah, there's a lot of respect there. Phil Powers, I think he's leaning to more being like Boyzone a bit too much. And Danny Royal, he's in there, my good friend. But at the end of the day, all friendship aside, if it comes down to me and Danny Royal, he's got to go. He's got to go. And I promise you now, he will go. The other wrestlers, the Fallen Angel, now, I don't know what he's like. That'd be a good experience for me. But in the end, he'll go over the top as well. Or I will pin him with the flatliner. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I will be there at the end, holding the TV title.
I went to Crystal Palace and the doors opened and I stepped out, and it was a fantastic feeling. To have so many people there that really want to see British wrestling back again, it persuaded me to stay. I can't really begin to explain the feeling. As far as the match goes, I headed into that match, I knew I was the stronger man. I knew perhaps to a certain extent that I was the faster man. But all credit to the Fallen Angel, he's a great competitor. If I'm guilty of anything, I overestimated the man, and that was an important lesson I learnt that night. I'm not going to make excuses for me. I lost fair and square in the middle of that ring, but if I'd have hit the beef bomb in the middle of that ring and he hadn't put his foot on the rope, I know I'd have taken that 1, 2, 3, but no excuses. He beat me fair and square. But there is one thing that's niggling at me. Out the corner of my eye, I saw the Anarchist standing there looking at me. He was screwing me from a distance. I don't know what his beef was, but at the end of the day, Fallen Angel, I will get you again. An Anarchist, you want to watch your back.
Match with Grand Nanawa, I was just totally buzzing on that show. It was everything I did, I felt I did right. There was a few things like where he caught me off guard and everything, but basically, like everybody knows, that Japanese wrestlers can fly. Well, I think I proved that night that English wrestlers, when they want to, can fly.
Runs across. Oh, superb! Springboard off the chair into a huge cross-body tope outside the ring.
It was getting quite physical in there, and I had every intention of using that chair, truth be known. But I remembered what I was intending doing in that match, and that was giving the people something different, a clean wrestling match. So I had this crazy idea just to use it as a springboard. And it's something that hasn't really been done in this country before. And it's a bit crazy, but hey, it paid off. It was just great, and especially like I didn't know where I pulled it from. Just like coming out with my new move, what I'm calling the flatliner. A lot of people have used it in the past, but the force that I use that move, it's just basically, it's like a roller coaster ride. All of a sudden your heart just stops because you never know where it's going to come from. And I don't care whereabouts in the ring I do it or on the outside of the ring, it's going to happen. And then that's when flatline begins.
Flatliner Steve, always, it's over.
From nowhere, Kenny, from nowhere. Emperor Hirohito, Yoko Ono, Ken Hom, your boy took one hell of a beating.
And here we see it again, whips him, picks him up, drops him down. Got him in a pinning position, 1, 2, 3, it's over.
Still to come on Rampage, the anarchist Doug Williams faces an uphill battle. Phil Powers must overcome injury at the hands of Mad Dog and Johnny Storm, but up next, dare to enter the world of Big Papa T. Crowned UWA television champion right here in just 1 week's time. One of the most mysterious and unnerving competitors has to be former Zairian commando Big Papa T. In this country, it is the striking and intimidating Rebecca who looks after the interests of the mute, masked monster. But as we'll find out, in his homeland, Papa T had to learn how to express himself in the language of pain.
Check this out.
Comme on s'est rencontrés, je l'ai vu qu'il est beau. Cette photo, quand il était en armée, quand on s'est rencontrés avec lui, il était comme ça, le pli comme ça.
So I met him at the offices of Dial-A-Cab. I looked at him, I thought, well, you know, this guy is terrifying me because he had this black leather mask on. He had been wrestling in his home country of Zaire in front of crowds of up to 125,000 people, which is a stupendous amount. Even the American wrestlers would give their back teeth to fight in front of crowds like that. And he was taking it as fairly normal. When he was fighting in Zaire, he was always known as the Lion King. He was good, he was noble. In fact, he was everything that a lion should be. But the only problem was he had to wear a mask. He felt that he had no alternative because there were people, so he said, after his blood. As I've said, his father worked for President Mobutu, but his father was mysteriously killed. Now, the Lion King thought it was murder. He swore that he would get the people that killed his father. He swore that nobody would ever touch anyone from his family again. He swore revenge. He joined the elite corps of Mobutu that were supposedly going around torturing every prisoner they came across. Unfortunately, he was discovered and they apparently tried to poison him. So, he decided that he had to get out of the country. There was time to take nothing, but all he did take was his amateur wrestling certificate, which he smuggled in his wrestling boot. And he actually came over in his wrestling boot. I've been following wrestling for many, many years. I've never ever known a wrestler to want to kill his opponent. I feel that Big Papa T could suddenly snap. He's halfway there already. I believe that there is a danger that any of his opponents could be killed. This man is a monster.
As he entered the UWA, it was immediately apparent that Big Papa T was going to have a huge impact.
Well, look at the size of him, Steve.
Oh, well, I'm too busy looking at the lovely Rebecca at the moment, to be honest. Ross and the crowd certainly love her as well. And here he comes, there he is, the masked man doing his little wiggle there, shaking his fang. And we're going to see some magic works in that ring tonight. Mark Sloan, literally a sacrificial lamb.
Well, if any match in the UWA so far could be compared to a David and Goliath battle, it has to be this one.
Sloan looks terrified, and so he should be. Look at the T there.
This
Absolutely
is a big man. He has got a great amateur background as well. He was actually banned from amateur wrestling in this country, but he originally hails from the Congo. He was a former bodyguard for the president and a former executioner. That man there in the ring has killed people.
Well, it doesn't bode well for Mark Sloan then, does it?
But I'm sure Mark Sloan will be wanting to try his very best tonight. And upsets do happen in this wrestling business, Steve. Upsets do happen.
Well, I'm willing to bet any amount of money that you can name, Ross, that there's only one man who's going to walk away with victory here, and it's that man there, doing the wiggle, the Papa T walk.
And arrogance as well.
It's not arrogance, it's a style about the man. There's a grace about him, you know, maybe that's something that the lovely Rebecca has tutored with
more
him.
power
Look at that, look at
demonstrated
that. Is that
there.
man not stylish?
And sometimes you may think, you know, can this man be focused to the task ahead of him? Well, if he can't do it on his own, here's Rebecca to help out. And a great athletic maneuver there by Mark Sloan as he kips back up to his feet.
Well, you mentioned Rebecca there earlier, Ross. Apparently, Papa T and Rebecca do share the same liking for leather masks, so that's nice. Ever thought about a leather mask, Ross?
Well, maybe I could borrow yours, Steve, as Mark Sloan's offense seems to have no effect on the gargantuan Big Papa T. Papa T whips Mark Sloan off the ropes and devastating force those maneuvers have, devastating force. And he goes for a submission move now. That's a Texas Cloverleaf. Steve, what do you think of that?
Well, it's effective, and I can tell you one thing, Papa T's not going to move. He's won the match, and he doesn't want to get off Mark Sloan. No, you can have a job shifting him. In the end, he goes.
The next time we saw Big Papa T, he wasn't even scheduled to appear, but nothing could hold the big man back.
Big Papa T does not belong out here during this match. What's he doing in the ring?
Of course he belongs in the ring.
Attacks Jason Cross. What's going on?
He belongs in the ring. Come on, Papa T.
No, Big Papa T is not supposed to be here. Big Papa T is not supposed to be here.
He just wants to get out and fight. He's not being given the opportunity to get out there and fight. And now he wants to get in there and do his job. But Kenny, can you not see,
Big Papa T's got that double chicken wing lock on there. Nobody gets out of one of Big Papa T's submission holds. And you cannot imagine the pain that this is inflicting on Jason Cross's shoulders. This is... Somebody
all the UWA officials
here come all our officials. Jason Cross Johnny Storm just sneaking away there while no one was looking. He was lucky really that Big Papa T didn't get a hold of him. Big Papa T now
sensational stuff
doing his little dance.
Papa T.
Rebecca's out at ringside, don't know what's going on there.
Well, she's going to start wrestling, and she's being manhandled there by a UWA official, and if Papa T gets wind of that, it's going to turn very ugly indeed, Kenny.
Well, Rebecca does not belong here. Big Papa T does not belong here.
How can you say that? He wants to get out and fight, do his job. He's not being given the opportunity to do that, so he has to go to drastic measures such as that.
Let's see if we can get another look at this as Rebecca fights with our officials on the way back there. Here is Big Papa T from behind with a big forearm. They go, Jason gets a few punches in, but then Big Papa T hits him low and locks on the double chicken wing submission maneuver. And there's no way Jason can escape from this. This is an incredible maneuver.
And you're right there, Kenny, because Johnny Storm is just glad he wasn't there.
Once order had been restored, Jamila tried to find out exactly why Big Papa T, under orders of his manager Rebecca, had invaded the ring.
Because he is not receiving enough matches. I mean, the UWA, I don't know what their game is. It is absolutely pathetic. The treatment of Big Papa T, the very best wrestler in the world, it's absolutely disgusting. And these Neanderthal brain-dead wrestlers jumping around the wrestling ring as if it's a pig pen, it's disgusting.
Papa T and Rebecca believe that the television title is virtually theirs by right. Of course, in the TV title tournament, Papa T's favoured submission holds will have no effect, as eliminations are only by pinfall or by being thrown over the top rope. It is unlikely, however, that Papa T sees that as much of a problem. Still to come, we'll see how Phil Powers has been dogged by a madman. But up next, it's the Anarchist, the Angel, and some interfering hot stuff.
Douglas Williams, listen to me, boys. I have signed to wrestle you. All these people seem to think you're the best things in sliced bread. Let me prove just how great I am. Take a look at what's hot and what's not.
Well,
hey, Mike! You can kiss my...
Wrestling Alliance television title tournament, which we'll see right here next week. We turn now to a situation that involves the anarchist Doug Williams, the fallen angel Christopher Daniels, and hot stuff Stevie Knight, though there's no love lost in this bizarre triangle. At the center of the storm is controversial American manager Steve Linsky, who represents the anarchist Doug Williams. And as we'll see, it is Linsky's high-risk management style that is really the cause of everything we've seen over the past few weeks. It all began with a match signed between the anarchist and hot stuff Stevie Knight. We soon learned that manager Steve Linsky had other plans.
Doug, you ain't wrestling this match.
What?
Stevie Knight, you ain't got the wrestling ability to be in the same ring as my guy.
Absolutely right.
Doug, you ain't wrestling this match. I want you saved for Chris Daniels.
How insulting to Steve Knight.
You don't get paid.
That's a manager that cares, Kenny. That's a manager that cares.
You don't get paid.
Why should Doug waste his time?
That's a manager with no respect for the contract that Doug Williams has signed.
Well, Steve Linsky's, he's laid it on the line there. He's got his wrestler's best intentions.
Shut your mouth. Anarchist Douglas Williams. Listen to me, boy. I have signed to wrestle you. All these people seem to think you're the best things in sliced bread. Let me prove just how great I am. Take a look at what's hot and what's not.
Well,
hey, Knight, you can kiss my backside.
Oh, wait a minute.
He'd probably like that, Steve.
Oh, come on, Steve.
Are you going to stay or are you going to come?
Well, now, Doug Williams has got to listen to the valuable advice of Steve Linsky.
Well, Doug doesn't look too happy about all this. I don't know what's going on between Steve and Doug.
The anarchist finally followed his manager's advice and seemed to enjoy the confusion caused to UWA officials. UWA chairman Mick McManus allowed the match against the Fallen Angel and added a stipulation, saying that if the anarchist won, he'd take the coveted 10 spot in next week's TV title tournament. But if he lost...
If he doesn't beat him, then he's got to start from scratch. He's got to wrestle number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth and so on.
The UWA chairman, Mick McManus, who has been a notorious rule breaker in his day, is quite tolerant towards rule breakers, but sometimes likes to add a stipulation to keep the wrestlers on their toes. Take, for example, the anarchist Doug Williams.
This highly anticipated matchup saw two evenly matched competitors with everything to play for.
As we go with some nice chain wrestling here in the opening, Doug flipping over there, ducks underneath, rolls back. What's this? Head scissors. Takes Christopher Daniels over with a great head scissors there.
There's more of the same for you, Daniels.
And if Doug can keep that kind of momentum up, then he could be taking that 10th spot in the TV title tournament. And if he does, then that TV title is as good as his.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. It is a case here in this match of winner takes all.
Taking part in that tournament, Phil Powers, Danny Royal, Kerry Cabrero, Mad Dog McPhee, Doug Williams, Christopher Daniels, Steve Knight, Paul Sloan, Johnny Storm, and Big Papa T to decide the first ever TV champion of the UWA. And we'll be seeing that title defended at the Blackpool Ice Arena in June.
I can't wait, Kenny, but you are absolutely right when you say the man who enters in that 10th position has got it all sewn up.
Well, you would have to think so, and either of these two guys, we know how talented they are, and I'm quite sure that if they take that 10th spot, they'll walk into the champion role. We see them here working over each other's arms. Doug, of course, we saw last week scouting the Fallen Angel against Danny Royal. Very close match, great match last week. But, and Doug seems to have taken something from that. He seems to know a little bit more about Chris Daniels than Chris Daniels knows about him. But Chris Daniels with a great big spine buster there.
And what's Linsky doing, applauding the fallen angel?
Well, Steve, he's an American. I think he just...
I can't believe what I'm seeing
I
here.
think a touch of nationalism there from Steve Linsky. He can't help but see the talent of the American.
God, sometimes I wonder if I'm the only Englishman in the room.
Well, you are.
Look at him! What's he doing? Someone I admired, someone I respected as a businessman, as a manager, as a Svengali, to some of the best up-and-coming wrestlers in the UWA.
Well,
I can only think, Kenny, just not wanting to interrupt you there, Kenny, but I can only think it could be reverse psychology.
Well, it could be. It could be. We just don't know. With Steve Linsky, that devious mind of his, you never know what he's planning to do next.
You say devious, I say brilliant. Let's call the whole thing off.
Chris Daniels with a great suplex there. 1, 2, and Doug Williams kicks out again. Steve Linsky now slapping the mat, trying to get his boy riled up, trying to get him into this match a bit more. And there he is. There he gets into the match with a bang, with that big drop kick there, sending Chris Daniels to the outside.
That's knocked the wind out of his sails.
And not a huge dive, clambering up the ropes, and a huge plancha dive off the top rope.
Oh, I think Doug may have hurt himself there as well. It's a suicidal move.
Well,
I think he may have got clobbered on the ground as well.
He did slip slightly on the top rope, but he still made great contact with Chris Daniels. And yeah, well, Chris Daniels is back on his feet first. That's why we call them high-risk moves. If you hit big. If you miss even bigger. And they're going up the aisle now. What's going on here? Chris Daniels setting up for perhaps a power bomb. Maybe a pile driver on the ramp, we don't know. And a big clothesline there, a short arm clothesline to reverse that power bomb attempt.
You could hear him fall. Music to my ears.
Well, Chris Daniels now staggering back up to the ring. He's taking quite a beating on the outside, that big dive, and then that big short clothesline on the rampway. But he charges in, shoulder block, flips right over Doug Williams. Big kick to the guts. What now? Angel wings! Oh! Angel wings! We've seen him finish people with that before. That's one of his big moves. But he's taking his time. What's going on? Doug seems to be almost out of it, and Chris Daniels not making the cover.
They're insulting Steve Linsky. I can't believe this. I think they're implying he's slightly overweight.
Doug's got an adrenaline rush here, though. Chopping Chris in the corner, whips him across.
Come on down!
Big Hurricane Rana.
Well, let's have a look at those moves again, because
there it is. Jumps up, head between the legs, roll backwards. Fans, that's about as good a Hurricane Rana as you'll see. And there with that big double clothesline move.
Kenny, this has really turned into the match we hoped it would.
Well, that's right, Steve. We said from the beginning of the show today that this was going to be a great match. And I think we've been proved right so far as Chris Daniels gets right back up to the top rope. But Doug gets hold of him.
Yeah, come on, Doug!
Throws him 3/4 of the way across the ring. And Steve, what's Steve doing there?
Doug's got him! Doug's got him down for 3! That was longer than 3! That was for longer than 3 seconds!
Steve Knight still distracting the referee.
What is the referee doing?
Doug's back up to his feet now, goes with a clothesline, but misses.
I think Doug actually thought he'd won it. Kenny, I actually think
Chris Daniels with last rights, though.
He'd won it.
Chris Daniels with last rights. 1, 2, 3.
I
don't believe it. Unbelievable. Doug Williams, he had the cover with the German suplex. The referee was distracted.
Stevie Knight there distracted the referee. Doug had the fallen angel down for way longer than 3 seconds.
Steve Knight there telling everyone how smart he thinks he is as he skips back to the locker room. Chris Daniels motioning the belt round his waist. He thinks he's going to be the next TV champion.
So the Angel claimed the 10th spot in the TV title tournament, but the Anarchist wasted no time in pursuing the man who'd cost him the victory, Hot Stuff Stevie Knight.
you dare to step into the kingdom of the anarchists and cause me to lose my match by interfering, what a cowardly way to do it. But you think that's going to stop me winning the TV title by putting me in at number 1? Well, let me tell you about the other 9 guys. They ain't going to survive either, because they're all going to succumb to the chaos theory.
They're all going to take a damn good beating.
Well, what can I say, you know? I gave the anarchist every opportunity. I pulled him out of the fight from Stevie Knight, gave him the opportunity to go in against Chris Daniels. You know, he failed me on that one. But put Duggan at number 1, put Duggan at number 10. He's still going to come out on top. And Stevie Knight, remember this, somewhere down the road, you will be paid back.
Hi, I'm Jamila, and this is...
Hold on, honey. See, I know you usually call me your sweet and tender hooligan, but everyone else knows me as the fallen angel Christopher Daniels. Now, Jamila, I know you want to know what I'm going to do now that I'm the number 10 spot in the TV title tournament. Well, don't you worry, UWA, and all you British wrestlers here in the UK. I'm going to take real good care of that TV title when I bring it all the way back to the United States of America. And since I'm in the 10th spot, it's not going to take me very long. So Jamila, as soon as I'm done, maybe you and I can talk about that dinner you were wishing for later on. You can bring the title back with me to the US of A. Ha! Woo! You'll all bow down before the one you serve.
The anarchist will have the toughest job of any athlete in the tournament. The angel should, in theory anyway, have the easiest time. And as for Stevie Knight, well, we'll find out next week if he's more interested in winning the title or in further humiliating the anarchist. Coming up after the break, Mad Dog and Johnny Storm try to wreck the dreams of Flying Phil Powers. Were decided purely on the basis of popularity, then the number 1 contender would surely be Flying Phil Powers. A crowd-pleasing dynamo, Phil's professionalism, dedication and support for younger athletes has earned him the respect of not only the fans, but also his peers. Inevitably, however, there are those who have decided that the fly must be swatted. Phil's problems began when he took part in the UWA's inaugural match against the terrifying Mad Dog McPhee.
Well, Phil Powers, very acrobatic in his Arab Spring entrance into the squared circle. Look at the fans love this man.
Well, he should put a rest to this. This is just nonsense. It's trying to be everybody's friends. Get in there and get fighting, just like Mad Dog McPhee.
Mad Dog takes the match straight to Phil Powers before the bell has even rung, and look at those knees going into Phil Powers' ribs. That's gotta hurt, Steve.
You bet. That's why I'm sat here with you and not in the ring.
But Steve, look at Phil, he's coming back now with some kicks in the midsection and some chops.
Saying, come on, give me what you got,
Off the ropes by Mad Dog. And Phil comes back with a great back elbow that downs the big man, and he comes back with a great drop kick, but look at that, Steve.
It wasn't so great, was it? It wasn't
so great. It didn't even faze the big man. And now an Irish whip. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Phil comes back yet again, Steve. A kick to the midsection, off the ropes once again, and a snapping neck breaker. That's gonna hurt, and Steve Linsky looks on from ringside. He can't be happy at this. Phil on the top rope, what's he gonna hit? He hits a big drop kick. There is the reason that Phil Powers is called Flying Phil Powers.
Well, let's take another look at that, because, as you say, he's known as Flying Phil Powers, but it's going to take a lot of flying and Steve, a lot more of that sort of thing to put paid to a big man like Mad Dog.
You may not be Phil Powers' biggest fan, Steve, but you must respect that man's ability as he sends Mad Dog into the corner.
I could do that. Anyone can stand on the ring and jump off it.
Phil sets up for a beautiful double underhook there and hits a big suplex as he sends Mad Dog into the corner and hits Rolling Thunder. A great clubbing blow into the midsection following a somersault. A snapmare there, and now Phil Powers has the advantage.
What was that? What was that?
That's a patented British move used by many British wrestlers. It's a football kick into the kidney areas, and
Mad Dog did superbly there, moving out the way, and Powers flat on his back. Superb stuff there by Mad Dog.
But Phil Powers has got a small package. 1, 2, 3, yes! Phil Powers gets the victory. He got the 1, he got the 2, and he made Mad Dog look at the lights for the decisive 3 count.
Later that night, Phil Powers offered these words of encouragement to his protege Paul Sloan, who was set to face Johnny Storm.
He's a tough cookie. He doesn't need his mentor at ringside, but all I've got to say is I wish Paul Sloan 100% the best of luck. He doesn't need me at ringside. He's a tough guy.
Johnny Storm hits the ring. And oh, look at the power in Paul Sloan's arms as he uses a gorilla press there. And a great big clothesline sends Johnny Storm crashing to the outside.
And here comes the man himself, Steve Linsky, accompanied by Mad Dog.
Steve Linsky has no part in being out there, but what a great double leg takedown by Paul Sloan as he goes for the cover, gets a one, gets a... Mad Dog broke the count, Steve. That is
you're
illegal.
Seeing things. In your old age, your eyesight's playing tricks with you, Ross. I can tell you that he had nothing to do with it. Mad Dog's just there, offering encouragement, as is Steve Linsky.
This is disgusting. They should not be there, and they should not be interfering in the match as Johnny Storm stands on the top rope. What's he going for here? He misses a frog splash as Paul Sloan moves out of the way, and he hits a disrespectful slap in the face.
Well, let me tell you, it's going to take more than that to outdo Johnny Storm. Even this barrage of punches aren't enough.
Whoa! No! Wait, what's going on here? That's... No.
Mad Dog,
that cannot be right.
A drink.
Johnny Storm has won the match.
Mad Dog offered him a drink.
I can only presume that Steve Linsky doing this to Paul Sloan is something to do with Paul Sloan being Phil Powers' protege, and this is disgusting.
Mad Dog was not interfering. He was there to offer his support. Now he's interfering because of the things that Paul Sloan is saying about Mad Dog.
Paul Sloan doesn't appear to be saying anything.
Even Steve Linsky. Go on, Steve.
Look here, Phil Powers.
What's he doing? What's he doing? Get that man out
Phil
of there!
sends Johnny Storm crashing to the outside, and Mad Dog isn't too far behind.
Now that is a disgrace!
That's no less than they deserve.
That is a disgrace!
What a great flying maneuver by Flying Phil Powers. He hit a huge plancha there, taking out both men, and now he takes it to Mad Dog.
Bully boy tactics, Ross, that's all that is.
Mick McManus decided that the only way to solve the situation was with this tag team contest.
Flying Phil Powers and his protege, the incredible Paul Sloan.
They should have stayed at home, Kenny. They should have stayed at home.
But they're in the ring and we're kicking things off early here. Double whip, reversals, and clotheslines. Paul Sloan tosses Mad Dog out to the floor. They've now got a hold of Johnny Storm. Double drop down, leapfrog, double leapfrog, and Johnny just rolls outside the ring. He doesn't want any of that. Johnny's just getting back into the ring now, and there, a big power slam from Phil as he came in. Now tags out to Paul Sloan. Paul Sloan and Johnny, of course, both very young, not much experience, but still, Paul proving there what a great athlete he is with that great sidewalk slam. Whips Johnny off the ropes again, catches him. Johnny looked to be going for something there, but Paul, too much power.
Paul Sloan is just jealous because Mad Dog McPhee and Johnny Storm have got more hair than him.
As Johnny Storm gets up on the top rope. Big frog splash on Paul Sloan. We saw him miss that move last week, but there he gets a 2 count out of it. Huge thrust kick right into the jaw of Paul Sloan. Takes him down. What's this going to be?
Oh, wonderful!
Oh, that's tremendous maneuver, tremendous maneuver.
Sheer brilliance there.
Mad Dog McPhee sweeping the legs out. 1, 2. And I wonder if we can get another look at that move, because that was just incredible, Steve.
It was fantastic. Here it comes now. Superb.
Yeah, there you see it. Johnny Storm with a spinning leg lariat from the top turnbuckle, while Mad Dog swept the legs out. And a huge double clothesline. Paul Sloan in the corner, tags Phil Powers. In comes Flying Phil Powers. And going wild, coming in with that real fire in his heart here.
Is that legal? Is that legal?
Of course it's legal. He hooks Johnny Storm up. It's going to be a slingshot suplex. No! Slingshot something. As Phil Powers goes to the top rope again.
Powers is just getting lucky. He's come in, he's fresh, he's been waiting there for
splash,
ages.
But Steve Linsky's in the ring.
He's going to... No, he wasn't. He's just tied himself out. Now, he's going out and picking on some poor defenseless member of the audience.
Come on, Steve. Why was Steve Linsky in the ring there?
He wasn't in there.
Mad Dog going for a powerbomb on the floor. We've seen that before, but Phil backdrops him. And now Phil finally going to get some revenge.
That is shameful! That is shameful! Mad Dog was just there trying to protect his manager, who was doing nothing and just being picked on by a bully. He's a bully, Kenny.
And here Phil Powers goes back to the top rope again. Drop kick. Johnny Storm topples down, lands on the back of his head. Paul Sloan makes the cover. 1, 2, 3.
Phil Power thought his problems with Mad Dog McPhee and Johnny Storm were over and began to concentrate on the TV title tournament.
You must be a strong contender. What do you think of your chances?
Bet I'm a strong contender. It seems like just lately everybody in the UWA's out to get the fly Phil Powers. I don't care who's in this tournament. You've got Kerry Cabrero, the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels, Mad Dog Stuart McPhee. It's over the top rope and it's pinfalls. It doesn't...
The worry about Powers is me.
Oh, for Christ's sake, do I go great crash of yours? Oh, can't just get out of him. Whoa! Ah! God! Damn it! Come on, what's your problem? Get out of it! Ah! Ah! Damn it! Ah! No! Ah! Let go! Ah! Oh! Ah! Oh! Ah! What's going on here? Ah! Oh!
The extent of Phil's injuries isn't known. Have the Linsky mob succeeded in shattering the dream that Phil Powers spoke of so confidently just days before this brutal attack?
I am probably the smallest man in the tournament, but I don't reckon that matters. Look, you've got the size of fellas like Big Papa T, big, massive, great big 22 stone geezers. Hey, I'm Phil Powers, I'm only 12 stone nothing, and I'm about 5'3", but that doesn't matter because I've got 100% of British wrestling behind me. You've also got a good friend of mine, Paul Sloan. I don't reckon it'll happen, but if it did, we'll just wait and see. We've got Johnny Storm, not even worth talking about really. We've got Danny Rawl, Kerry Cabrero, two very, very good athletes, but if they end up on the receiving end of like one of the dropkick of the tops, they could end up flying outside the ring. Mad Dog Stuart McPhee, yeah, he might be a hell of a lot bigger than me, but what happened when I powerbombed him? Let's take a look at Hot Stuff Stevie Knight. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Steve Knight is going to take a look at what's hot and what's not, courtesy of Phil Powers. And let's take a look at the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels. All I can say is it's time for action now, pure 100% action. Let's see what happens in that ring. You're going to see the Fly Phil Powers become the first UWA television champion.
I think names that stick out, obviously Kerry Cabrero. I think with Kerry Cabrero it's going to be a very interesting battle if I do meet him, because if you look at one side of the coin, I know him and I know all his strengths, but on the other side it works the other way. He knows me and he knows all of mine, so I think the man that will win that one will be the man with luck. You know, it's been said a million times over that success is 50% ability, 50% luck. Let's see what happens.
It's an opportunity which all us young wrestlers have never had before, and I do believe I should come through on top.
Okay, so I'm number one in the TV title elimination tournament. Well, I don't think that's a problem. I mean, I've only got 9 other guys to beat, and they will all succumb to the chaos theory.
Well, let's look at the competition in the UWA at the moment. And you have athletes like British Beef Danny Royal. You know, you have Paul Sloan. You know, good competitors, but at the end of the day, they're no match for the likes of the Anarchist Doug Williams, Johnny Storm, Mad Dog, and one other competitor in the UWA, and I have to mention this, Mr. Phil Powers. I don't think so. Nobody in the UWA has got anything on my guys. So throw in Phil Powers, throw in Big Papa T. Yeah, Big Papa T is a threat, but not that much of a threat. You put anybody in the ring with somebody from Steve Linsky's stable, they're finished. History. End of story.
So there you have it. The UWA television title right here next week. 10 men will enter. There can be only one winner. Please join us next week.